Hello everyone and welcome to this quick tutorial explaining how to use the Carbon multi-cloth multi-rigid body welding macro node. If you go into the tab menu to Carbon and then under macros, you will find the node in here. I've already created one, so let's get started with this example. Our initial setup is a basic simulation using 4 square cloths that are being stitched together where they meet. So we have 4 cloths, 4 stitchings, and we also have 4 narrow filters where those stitchings are. And when I run the simulation, it is being draped over a sphere. Now I have a whole lot of buttons which I created procedurally, starting from a tube, then just remeshing it, and then I'm placing it onto this grid, so on each point onto this grid, using a copy to points node. The important thing here now is, before we pass it to the macro, is that we have packed geometry. So for each geometry, each button here that we want to create a rigid body in a welding, we need to have it packed. If a middle mouse button click on this node, we can see 78 packed geometries, so 78 buttons. How to get it out of the copy to points node is quite easy. You just need to tick pack and instance, and then it automatically packs all of the input. If I didn't have this ticked, we get them all just in one geometry and with 3,432 polygons. So let's go back, pack an instance, and we're back to 78 packed geometries. Now let's look at our macro node. It has 2 inputs. The first one says packed rigid body geometries. This is the output of our copy to points node. The second input says carbon cloths. So we need to pass a stream containing carbon cloths. It does not have to exclusively contain carbon cloths. For example, here, if we connect to the merge, it also contains 1 carbon collider. But the macro node is smart enough to figure out which one is which. So let's go to the macro node. We just have to click this button and it will create a new network with our rigid body macros and the weldings. Let's go ahead and press this button. And since we didn't have too much complicated geometry, it was really fast. Let's go inside. And we actually see, for each geometry, we delete everything else, so extract every single geometry, every single button, then we unpack it and pass it into a carbon rigid body macro node, which creates a rigid body and the shape, all under the hood. And then all of these come together, being merged, and then for each of them, we have a welding created, a welding between each rigid body macro and a carbon cloth. And it just uses a proximity test to figure out which cloth is the closest. Now we can take the output of this, put it into a merge so it all comes together in the carbon simulation, go to simulation, reset, and here we go. We got the physics draw for all of these 78 rigid body macros, and each of them are being welded. You can see those green yellowish lines. All right, let's go back to reset our camera and let's play. There you go. All of the buttons are welded and holding on perfectly onto their assigned cloths. Yeah, and that's how you use it. And I hope you're having fun using this node, and thank you for watching.